Today, I'm proud to announce a new program called the SAVE Plan. It's the most affordable student loan plan ever. I've said it before and I'll say it again. As long as I'm president, my administration will never stop fighting to deliver relief to borrowers and bring the promise of college to more Americans.
The Biden administration's announcement of a new repayment plan for student loan borrowers is expected to benefit as many as 20 million people. And it should be known that repayments are set to start up again in October. There had been a pause on the federal loan repayments due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, the repayments will begin in October. And a lot of students were concerned about what that meant for their personal finances. And so the Biden administration has stepped in to kind of rework how the repayment plans work. So let's get into the details and then we'll tell you what action the administration has taken on student loan debt relief so far. Right now, the Education Department calculates income-driven repayments amount, like the amount that you're supposed to pay based on your disposable or discretionary income, right? Now, that is your household income minus 150% of the federal poverty guideline for your family size and location. Now, the numbers have changed a little after the Biden administration has reworked it. So the SAVE plan increases the income exempted from the payment calculation to 225% of the poverty line from 150%. As a result, single borrowers earning less than $32,800 or a family of 4 making under $67,500 will not owe loan payments anymore if they enroll in the option. So that's very important. You have to enroll. This isn't something that automatically happens. And after the federal government takes a look at your finances, your income, and what you are able to pay in your payments, they will make a determination in regard to whether you have to pay anything, and if you do, how much that amount will be. Now, this chart actually lays out the new estimated monthly payments for student borrowers under the new plan based on family size and income. So the administration estimates that the plan will save the typical borrower about $1,000 a year on their payments. So definitely take a look at that. You can also check out that chart at the US Department of Education or at CNBC. Additionally, borrowers who had $12,000 or less in initial loan amounts will also see their required payment time dramatically reduced. I think this is a really important part of the reworking of the program. Reduced from 20 years to 10 years for undergraduate loans. Those with higher original principal will be required to make an extra year of payments for every additional $1,000 in loans up to 20 years. And finally, the current income-driven repayment plans do not cover all of the interest on a loan each month. The government covers half of the unpaid interest, and the rest mounts over time, right? That was a big question in my mind about this, because okay, well, if you're not making payments because of your discretionary income and because you are approved for this repayment plan, what happens to the interest? Does it continue to accrue? Under the new SAVE plan, any interest unpaid each month would be covered by the government so long as the borrower keeps up with their monthly payments. This leftover interest would not accrue, and the SAVE plan will not apply to people who have refinanced their student loans, their federal student loans, with private banks. So if you have private loans, you do not qualify for this. This is specifically for students who have government loans, federal loans. And the good news is the majority of borrowers did take out federal loans for their education.
Yeah, so this is unmitigated good news and one of the best things that Biden has done. But he's got to deliver it. He's got to get it all the way through and get the relief to people. But look, I think he's had a very mixed record so far. The COVID relief bill was terrific in a lot of ways. Things like child tax credit, et cetera, that people loved. That's when he was peaking in his popularity. But everything sunset after 1 year, so it was super temporary, right? Then you got, well, he did pretty good climate change deals in the infrastructure. I'm sorry, in the Inflation Reduction Act. But then he approved a bunch of pipelines and kind of wiped out those gains. So we're hovering around zero at that point. Good things in the infrastructure bill. Donors get paid big time, but you get roads and bridges, you get internet everywhere. So like he was slightly positive until now. But if he delivers this is real. This is significant. So they estimate that on average, people are gonna save at least $1,000. $1,000 in your pockets ain't no joke. So that's already great for if you have these loans. But look at all these great parts of it. If you're under $32,000, you're paying zero. That's when you need it the most.
Right.
Hey, you're making $250,000, pay off your student loans, okay? But you're making under $32,000, or you got a family of 4, you're making under $67,000, etc. You're paying zero. That's great. Those are the people who need it the most. Cutting the amount you're paying from 10% of your income to 5% of your income, massive difference. Massive difference.
Absolutely.
So this is a real bill. It's not a bill. It's a real action here. And look, I say if a politician delivers for you, you deliver for them. So this doesn't affect all of us, but if it affected you or any of his student debt relief ones, because he's already done a student debt relief for about 10% of the folks who were holding debt. This is on top of that. If it affected your life positively, then you should vote for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There are other things that I wanted to quickly mention as well, because as we have shared with you previously, the Supreme Court had struck down part of his efforts to help students out with their student loans. He wanted to cancel some student debt, but the Supreme Court had struck that down. However, Biden has taken some other actions in an effort to cancel some of the student loan debt. And I would venture to say that what he's hyper focusing on here is incredibly important, because it has to do with students who were defrauded by these for-profit colleges. So the Biden administration previously canceled $39 billion in federal student loans for more than 804,000 borrowers by accounting for payments made under income-driven repayment plans that it argues should have qualified toward loan forgiveness, but were previously unrecognized by loan servicers that collect payments, okay? So remember, there was the debt forgiveness plan under the Obama administration. A bunch of students complied with that. They did what they were supposed to do. They took certain public service jobs for a certain number of years in an effort to abide by the rules of that program. And then once their time was up, they were able to actually get those loans canceled under that program. Betsy DeVos basically gave them the middle finger and refused to process it, right?
Yeah.
Now, the Biden administration stepped in, luckily, and helped these students out. And he's also looking to forgive loans for students who were defrauded by these for-profit colleges. The Biden administration has approved about $22 billion in additional student loan forgiveness for over 1.3 million borrowers who were defrauded by these for-profit schools. That is also incredibly good news.
Right, and knocking down the amount of time you have to pay if your loans are under $12,000 from 20 years to 10 years. My God, that's 10 years of albatross around your neck taken off. So look, we're honest and fair. I don't love Biden. I think there should have been and I still think there should be a very strong primary challenge against him by a progressive. But this is an excellent program, and I'm not biased against him. If he did this and did many more of these things that we're in favor of that actually helps the average American, then I'd be telling you right now, I don't care how old Biden is. If he delivers, let's go, let's get him in office. And then if it's a general election and Biden made it all the way to the general election and is against Trump, then people say, oh yeah, you're against corporate Democrats, you're against the establishment, but you're gonna vote for Biden, aren't you? Well, what's my choices? If it's Trump, who would never do this, who never helps the average man,
who will literally install someone who gives students the middle finger after they've played by the rules to get their student loan debt canceled, right?
Yeah, then it becomes a no-brainer, especially because he tried to overthrow democracy. But okay, but one more thing that's important. Why did Biden do this when he hasn't done so many other things that he promised that would help you? Well, number one, and I show this definitively in my book, Justice is Coming, younger voters saved his ass in 2020. He would not have won were it not for extra young voters showing up to the polls. Number two, when he promised student debt relief, they also showed up for the 2022 midterms. And even the knucklehead Democratic Party leaders were like, whoa, they noticed it in the exit polling. And so they want to deliver so they can win, because they're seeing the power of younger voters. And what have I been telling you the whole time? And now it's one of the thesis for hope in my book. Younger voters are coming. That's why justice is coming. And even the thickest headed Democratic leaders are seeing it now. And there's a second reason. It doesn't hurt the donors that much. So if you said paid family leave or $15 minimum wage, those are direct costs to corporations. They don't want that. If you said, I'm going to increase your taxes, which Joe Biden keeps bluffing and pretending he's going to do, but never actually does for corporations, then they would be livid and they would definitely block it. But this is just indirectly goes through the government and helps those people. They're worried eventually they might have to pay the taxes for that, but it's still indirect enough that you're not going to get a lot of pushback from corporate donors. And you get so much voter help from it that that's why they're going in this direction.
One final thing that I wanted to just quickly mention. So about 90 Democrats sent Joe Biden a letter urging him to do more for students. And on its face, it sounds like a positive thing, but I'm actually gonna criticize it a little bit because they're also, remember, 90 Democrats signed on to this letter. They're also calling for the Biden administration to do something to make college more affordable. No, guys, but that's your job. That's your job, okay? Just brushing off your duties and expecting everything to be done through executive orders and executive action. First of all, it's a weaker way to get policy done because all it takes is another president to come in, a Republican president, to undo the progress made under the Biden administration. So like, look, I get it. The political maneuvering necessary to actually fight on behalf of your constituents is difficult. It's a tough job. But you need to fight for it, and you need to do everything you can to make it happen.
Yeah, so look, I don't care why they do it, even if it's because they want to win elections. That's fine. That's what a politician is supposed to do. I just care about the results.
Same.
And so, but when it comes to the results, you knuckleheads, why don't you do what Anna is saying? Because think it through for a second. Okay, so Biden doing it, good for Biden, good for the general election, etc. Right? But Schumer and all the other Democrats, if you fought for it at the congressional level, you would put the Republicans in a tough spot.
Exactly.
And you would highlight to those younger voters that you desperately need, also for your House races and the Senate races, that you're fighting for them. Even if you don't win, if you propose it in the Senate and you fight like hell for it, and you put a spotlight on every Republican that votes no, that's a benefit to you. But Democrats haven't fought for their voters in so long. They have amnesia. They don't know how to fight for their voters. So they like, yay, Joe Biden, try that. We'll see you later. We're off for our August recess. No, you're also supposed to do your job. They just forgot that that's how it's done. They never ever fight, and that's the #1 problem. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.